I know this is a bit of a weird one, but I have wanted to come here for quite a few years. Took me a while to actually drive to it because of, as usual, if you've been watching any of my German videos, there seem to be roadworks everywhere, so when my sat-nav took me it was blocked because of roadworks. Anyway, this is the Nuremberg rally grounds, I suppose you could call it. I'll see in a minute how extensive it is. These are the famous steps, so this is the bit where all the big rallies took place with Hitler. He wanted to make this town kind of a central part of the Third Reich. This is the Zeppelin Grandstand. And there is a more modern, looks like football ground and arena over there. There's even an American football pitch, would you believe? But this is the grandstand, featured in many videos. It is starting to crumble. I suppose it's a bit of a mixed blessing. Do you preserve something like this, or do you go out of your way to preserve something like this? I should say, because of its history. They obviously haven't destroyed it, but it's slowly crumbling. It's going to get to the point, I'm assuming, at some point it'd be too dangerous for people to climb on it. And that's the grounds. Anyway, let's go on and look at the famous spot up here. Just a little note to add to, do they repair it? There's a date on there, 1/12/82 on the steps. So at some point somebody has repaired it. Okay. So, what can I see? Right, this is a massive amphitheatre. So what you've got straight, imagine a U-shaped with a line at the top. So this is the line at the top, which is the concrete grandstand. Then there's a U-shape in front of me going across left to right, or right to left, whichever way you want to look at it. Interestingly, although there's a concrete wall at the back, it's like a retaining wall. And the seating, for want of a better word, area looks like it's grassed over at the moment. I don't know if that is how it was. There are concrete steps in the distance, and there's definitely concrete over there. So I don't know, maybe they've just let undergrowth take over. Oh, the stadium, Max Morlock Stadium, I think it says over there. Right, this is just for an orientation. So, got the grandstand I'm standing on. There's the, I presume it's a soccer stadium, football stadium. Now, there's a massive lake, which I don't know the name over there, and there's another large building, which is the Congress Hall, meeting hall over there, which I'll visit later. And you can't see it, but the documentation centre, so the museum, is over there. Coming back, what you can't see is behind the football stadium is the Great Road, I think it's called. This was kind of the Zeppelin Field. So prior to the rallies in the 30s. This is where the Zeppelins landed, took off. Okay, there's a notice up here saying Nuremberg was liberated on, what date? 20th of April 1945, 3rd and 45th Infantry Divisions of the 15th Army Corps of the 7th US Army. The celebration was held here on the 21st, the following day, on the main market square, and a further celebration was here. 5 soldiers wore the Medal of Honor. US soldiers were stationed here until 1944. Okay, I didn't know Around this area you can see these kind of memorials, so you can see what it looked like in its pomp and glory. Oh, here we go. So there's the man himself, looking across the field. There's obviously a structure missing. That one in the middle there, that doesn't exist as far as I can tell. I would like to point out these railings. So he's standing on the extreme left of the railings. I'll come to that again. Here's a map of the area. Oh, that's interesting. So I'm standing by number 7 up there. See, there's the Congress Hall, which is over that way. The Grossstrasse, which is a great road, which is directly behind me on the other side of this field, Zeppelin Field. And here it's looking a little bit newer and cleaner. So oh, that's interesting. So that part is missing, the balustrade bit at the back, and when you get to the middle where it goes solid, that's that bit. So you can see where the bit that connected and went along here has gone. And the end walls are not as high either. You can see on this, so the end wall with the Nazi insignia, that's gone. So it's very different. Okay, final steps to the high point. Not where Hitler stood, I should point out. So I presume this is where all the really high-ranking Nazi generals and so on stood. Yeah, it's now clearly used for people for, amongst other things, drinking. And here we have the Führer's spot. So I assume the railings are not the same, but you get my gist. The picture was taken from behind me. That photograph was taken from some sod up there, and Mr. Hitler stood here where there's a fag butt or two. So you can see that central structure has gone. This kind of feels a bit chilling standing here. Okay, lots of people here now. Been here like 20 minutes, it still feels a bit weird. I had a thought, just going back to Hitler's spot. The whole reason behind my channel, and the name of it, Video History Today, is to video places that relate to history. Video places where historical things happened, and however you want to put it, this is an historical place, and where I'm literally standing. Yeah, I don't know what else to say really. Just overheard a tour guide talking about what happened here in terms of construction. So the construction was done in 2 years of this entire site, and because of the speed, the workmanship is pretty crap, hence why it's kind of crumbling. But the colonnade, which was at the back, and then the large end parts Apparently what happened was the Americans decided to destroy the colonnade, probably because of its condition, and they dynamited it, and the net effect of dynamiting it was that it weakened the end structure as well, and so the whole lot was taken down, and that was, I think he said, in the 60s sometime. Now I did think earlier that there was some sort of racetrack here, and there's actually a grid position over there, so I presume they use this park for some sort of motorsport. This is the grandstand from the bottom. I may have got this wrong, but I think the architect of this was is it Albert Speer? And they wanted, you saw that photograph, they wanted a nice white effect. So they used limestone from southern Europe, and the weather in northern Europe causes that sort of thing. If I remember correctly, freeze thaw. So water gets in the summer, in the autumn, and then in the winter it freezes, and when water freezes it expands, and when it expands it cracks weak rock, and then it thaws again and the rock crumbles. Obviously this takes a long time, but the net effect is around the edges, especially erosion, do you want to use a better word. So there's quite a lot of this is crumbling. Alright, let's go and invade this outdoor skiing lesson. Now, start finish line. So walk out onto the grid. Number 16. So those of you who know, this is some sort of racetrack. I don't know if that view's any use. Anyway, my first view of the grandstand from down here. So it's about 300 metres long by the look of it. On Mr. Hitler's spot. Ironically, that white bit, it seems the whitest. Might be my eyes, but Mr. Hitler, whiter than white, not. They seem to have finished, but this was being used for motorcycle training. I've come down to the, this is the western end of the grandstand, and the parts behind the U-shaped smaller stand. I don't know if these were just built as architectural features. It's the same limestone colour as the bandstand up there, or the grandstand rather, bandstand. Can't go inside, it's locked. Let's have a walk in here. Looks like this is the pit lane somehow. When it's a track, you can see the condition of the stone again, not very good around here. Graffiti artist live and well though. Alright, so this is a look at the other stand. Alright, the cheap seats, let's call them the cheap seats. Alright, that's interesting. So the stand up there, the grandstand, made with very solid stone. The side grandstands made with looks like little concrete posts and slats, and then the soil in between. The tour guide was saying how when this was being used you'd have 250,000 troops on parade in here. 250,000, I did say that. There's probably room for another 100,000 spectators. And he said a lot of them, it was a paid event, so it was a good way to raise money for the party, the Nazi party. But these were not necessarily Nazi people. They weren't, you know, told they had to come. It's not like a North Korean thing. Oh, as on the side, doesn't this look like the North Korean parade ground where they have all their vast displays of coordinated dancing and celebration? Anyway, that's on the side. Yeah, these were ordinary members of the public from Nuremberg who were bored. They had no entertainment during the war, or up to the war. This was something different, to come and watch the parade, because there was often soldiers on parade. They were doing army manoeuvres, there were planes flying overhead, so it was a big show. And as the guy said, the ultimate attraction, fascination, you have to remember this is the pre-TV day really. This was the chance to see Hitler, see the man himself. Now I'm near the stand here, so I'm not even that far away, and I can barely see there's somebody standing on the Hitler spot, so to speak, and you could barely see him. But on the other hand, he knew that they wanted to see him for various, more for curiosity than for worship. But anyway, some interesting photographs here. This is showing one of the Zeppelin landing in 1909 on the field. It became called Zeppelin Field, stuck with the name, and that's the same field. So this picture is 1937, after the stands were built. So you've got, now it says it here, the Führer's Rostrum, so that's about there. The main bit and the colonnade, that's the bit that's been destroyed. And the road, so that's the racetrack. I'm standing up here somewhere. Actually, it says the field was more or less square, give or take, and it had room for 200,000 troops. So that's the view back from where I'm standing. If I move behind here, it's the lake, and if I'm quick, the Congress Hall, which it looks amazing. I'll be there later. It's through the trees across the lake there. It's another amphitheatre sort of structure. There you go. Here's a rock concert photo, 1978. Just says rock concert. Anyone's guess who that was. And since 1995, the annual no registering race is held here. Oh, that's a good photo. People still use the stands, it's a surprise. And here you go, there's Americans. Doesn't have a year on that one. It's just a brief look at the back of the grandstand. Some sort of memorial up here which I'll have a look at. Again, the stonework's in bad state. I just read a notice saying that the Nuremberg Council spend €100,000 a year just to keep it safe. So that's things like fencing where it's damaged and removing dangerous stone as it's crumbling. But it would cost them millions to restore it, assuming obviously you want to restore it. I'm quite surprised if it's in such a bad state that they still hold motor racing and allow people to sit on it. But anyway, let's have a look at this. Just coming back to the rear, that's the entrance doors that Hitler used. There's a photograph from an exhibition, which is an interesting thing. So there's a 1996 when you could go inside, I assume. And there's this big dish. Apparently there were two of them. And they were located, there's an old photo, located up here. You can just see on the side wall, there's one on each end. So I'm standing somewhere just down in front of these doors. So this bit is still standing. All of that has gone. All of that has gone. And that has gone at both ends. So here are those doors. Now I'm not sure, that looks like a bloody scoop rather than, is it artwork? It's supposed to be artworks? Don't know. I think they're artworks.